Are you looking to hire more help in your company? Do you struggle to hire A-player employees that can actually perform in your landscaping or construction business? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my 7-step hiring process that will allow you to bring in A-player employees so that you can hire more help, expand your company, and actually get people to show up. What's going on, you guys? It's Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency. And in this video, we're going to be talking all about hiring and how you can hire A players in your company so that you can grow your business the way that you want to. Now, obviously, if you've been following this channel, you know that this is a marketing channel. We talk all about how you can use online marketing to grow your lawn, landscaping, and outdoor living business. However, it becomes more and more of a need as you scale your business to also have great employees. And so I thought I would record this video to help out our clients, but also many of you who are watching, so that you have a very simple, repeatable, step-by-step process that you can use to start getting very high quality employees in your business. Now, also another disclaimer here, I'm not like some hiring expert or like staffing company or anything like that. However, I've been running my own company for about 10 years now. And so I definitely have some experience of hiring and firing and getting burned and working with really great employees and working with not so great employees as well. And it's something that we're starting to roll out for our clients as well, just to support them, because like I said, as their business grows and their revenue and they're getting more leads and sales, they are going to need also help bringing in more talent. And so we've stepped in to help them on that side of things. Now, before we dive into these 7 steps that I think are going to be very helpful for you, I also just want to take a moment here to dispel a lot of limiting beliefs that you might have about hiring people. There's just like this general kind of belief that like it's impossible to find good employees. And I just want to pause that thought for you if you are thinking that right now, and just ask that you be open-minded to watching this video and ask yourself, are you really implementing a real system or strategy for attracting A-player talent into your business? Because from my experience, hiring great A-player employees comes down to having great systems, sales, and understanding psychometrics, which is the study of personality and overall behavior. Watch this video, and I promise by the end of it, if you're not doing this stuff and you implement it, you're going to get much better results. So the first step in my strategy here, the 7-step hiring process, is going to be posting a great job posting ad, right? And there's several steps to actually doing this well. Here's what most landscapers do at this point, is they will basically write up like, hey, this is what you're doing for the job. This is what you get paid. That's actually the wrong way to do a job posting, how to write it. Essentially, what you want to do in this job posting is write an ad that's going to get someone excited to work with you, sell them on the vision, and essentially get some buy-in, right? But also the most important thing simultaneously while selling them on the opportunity is you want to qualify a lot of people too. So you also have to be a little bit like brutally honest in the ad too. So here's what I'm going to recommend for you. Your job posting in the beginning should say, this is who we're looking for. We're looking for someone to fill this role. And then also you're going to talk a little bit about your company though too. So you're going to say, hey, example landscaping. This is what we do. We've been in business this long. We're a fast growing company. This is our vision. Our vision is to take over this area. We want to be the #1 landscaping company in this area, et cetera, et cetera. You want to really show them like the vision of where this is going, so that if someone is reading that, they're like, wow, this isn't just like another dead end job. Like maybe I can work my way up in this company and like things are really going places, right? So sell them on the company, sell them on the vision, and sell them on the growth that they could experience in that role. So maybe in the ad, you could say something like, plenty of room to grow, lots of opportunity to work your way up and become, a manager or whatever it is. That is extremely important in the job description, right? Some other things I'm going to recommend that are going to get a lot more inquiries are going to be offering 2 weeks paid vacation and also offering benefits as well. Here in Canada, you can actually set something up called a healthcare spending account, which is just like a simple bank account, basically, where you can put in a set amount of money per year, like $2,000 or something. And that money can go towards dental, vision care, all these kind of things. In the States, there's probably something very similar as well. And so offering benefits is a very powerful way to get a little bit more buy-in. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about those kind of things in just a sec. But something else that I want you to know for the job posting is you also want to be very honest about what is required, right? So for example, some of the things that I say in our job posting, like for our company, is that I say like, hey, this isn't just like a normal 9 to 5. This is kind of more of like a smaller company, more entrepreneurial. So if you're okay with like a little bit more of an entrepreneurial spirit in a company where maybe, you might get a text at, night on a weekday or something like that, or on a weekend, you might have to like jump in and do something here and there. There are people who actually want to do that and enjoy that kind of lifestyle. And so I would say don't shy away from being honest with people of like what you're looking for in your company. Another thing for us is like speed of communication, right? So maybe for you watching this, you can say like, hey, listen, we're a smaller company, we're not this like massive conglomerate, like we're a small business, we're doing a couple million or whatever it is. And, this is kind of like the lifestyle. This is what it looks like. Plenty of room to grow. You're going to work hard, but you're going to get like paid very well. It's a great opportunity. But I would just recommend to be honest in the actual ad. Something that really helped me was actually make a list of all the things that you really don't want in an employee and literally reverse those things. So let's say, for example, like something you really don't want in an employee is like, you don't want them to not show up, right? In the ad, you should say like, if this is the type of thing where you just see this as a paycheck and, when things get difficult or whatever, you just don't want to show up or something, like not for you, So you want to sell them on the vision, you want to sell them on the opportunity, but simultaneously in the ad, if you can also just be very honest and say, this is what we're looking for, it's going to help you a lot. Where you should post this, I recommend Indeed. That's mostly where we've posted job ads. It works extremely well. You can post some other places. The name of the game for this first step is you just want volume, right? So you want as many applicants as possible. So if you want to boost an ad, you could do Facebook ads as well. There's several ways. Just start with Indeed and then you can add Facebook and other aspects, other platforms. So I would say that that's kind of like a good starting point. All right, the second step in this hiring process is now that you have your ads out, you are going to start getting applicants coming through. And what I recommend to do is to just monitor the applicants as they come through, because with Indeed, they'll just submit their resumes, right? So every time it comes in, take a quick look at the resume. And if one catches your eye that looks like they have experience, looks like they're a good applicant, usually they'll put their phone number at the top of that resume. And what I recommend to do is just quickly send them a text. Hey, this is Matt from Example Construction. I saw that you inquired about the role. And then I would just ask a question like, what has you interested in that role? And just send them a text. And this is something you can really easily do. You can be texting people throughout the day and just reach out to them this way. And if someone doesn't text you back, don't bother calling them. You want someone that is going to text you back for this. So just send them a quick text. And if they text back and they say, yeah, I saw that, I'm interested, some things I think are like, make me qualified or this, and this, you just want to ask like basic questions through text, right? So I would ask like 2 or 3 questions like, hey, do you have your own tools? Do you have your own transportation? Like how many construction years of experience do you have? This, great, and if they seem like they're like probably or maybe a good fit, then what you want to do, the next step, if they pass that, is you want to send them to a skills interview. Now, the purpose of a skills interview, this should be some kind of Google or Zoom meet, 10 to 15 minutes, very quick call. And essentially you are looking to qualify them based off of their skills, right? So you're going to open up the call and just kind of say, hey, glad you're interested in the opportunity. We're going to talk a little bit about your skills on this. And if things go well, we'll move you along in the process. Here's the trick for the skills interview is that you don't want to ask yes or no questions. You want to ask very specific questions and that are open-ended. So for example, you'd be like, hey, like this is the situation for this job that we're doing. How would you install pavers for this? Or what would be the steps that you would do for doing XYZ? Or here's a situation, I'm not on site and this has happened. Like, what would you do? So you're keeping it very open-ended. And when they answer, don't give them any kind of like confirmation or affirmation or anything like that. Just be like, okay, awesome. And just move along. And the purpose of this interview is to gauge whether or not they know what they're talking about. You can very easily tell if someone's experienced and knows what they're doing based off of these open-ended questions. And you should be able to know if they're faking it or if they actually know and have the knowledge, right? So the whole purpose of the skills interview is just to ask open-ended questions, 10 to 15 minutes, and just assess their overall competency in what it is that you're hiring for them. If you're hiring them for an estimator or to be a salesperson, you're asking sales type questions, right? So, all right, so, prospect says this, like what would be your objection handling be? How would you handle that? And you're just kind of going through it. You'll be able to tell if they're an A player or if they're just kind of average, right? So let's say that they do well on the skills interview. So 10 to 15 minutes, skills interview's over, right? At the end of the interview, you're going to say, awesome. So I'm going to send you an email after this interview with the next steps from here. And so that brings us to the fourth step, which is something I call the details test. Now, this is critical, very important step in the hiring process. After you complete the skills interview, you are going to send them something called a details test, which is an email. And in the email, you are going to say something like this. Hey, thanks a lot for your time today. I think that you might be a good fit for our company. Here are 2 things I want you to do, and then we'll move to the next step. The first thing that they're going to do is submit a personality test. I recommend to use the website 16personalities.com. It measures on the Myers-Briggs personality test. So you're going to ask them to do that. And then the second thing is you are going to ask them to review a document that's about 4 or 5 pages long about your company vision and your values and everything about your business. And once they have submitted their screenshotted and sent back their personality test and have confirmed that they have reviewed that document, they're going to let you know. Now, this is a very sneaky trick. I'm going to explain what's going on here. So doing the personality test is very important because it's going to reveal to you their overall tendencies from their personality, right? So if you've never done Myers-Briggs or anything, it measures you based off of extroversion, introversion, measures you based off of like sensory, whether you're more intuitive, whether you're a thinker, more of a feeler. It measures many different aspects. I would definitely recommend to test yourself on 16personalities.com and read about your personality if you have not done that. The reason this is so important is that you do not want to hire someone for a very detail-oriented, independent type job if they are not a detail-oriented or independent type person, okay? You want to hire people who their natural personality type shines in the role that you're giving them. So for example, if you are hiring a salesperson, you do not want them to be introverted and you don't want them to be like a shy type of person. You want them to be extroverted, charismatic, right? And so on the flip side, if you're hiring someone to be like a technician who's going to be doing very detailed work and they don't really need to interact with people, then maybe introverted and very detail oriented is going to be more helpful for you, right? Because they're not going to be talking all the time and they're going to be very focused and detail oriented, very specific for like small details that an extroverted, very like vision oriented person is going to miss, right? So getting back the personality test, very important. And now I'm going to reveal to you kind of the whole reason of why you want to tell them to review a 4 to 5 page document. So I actually call this like a shit test a little bit, but for the purpose of this video, we'll call it the details test. So you're going to tell them to review that document as step 2. And in that document, you are going to write up a bunch of different details about your business, your values, your vision, all those things. And ideally you want this page to be like 4 to 5 pages long, this document. And in the middle of that document, you are going to put a one-liner and just say, if you're actually reading this, send me back an email with the code word unicorn to verify that you have been paying attention. And this is going to weed out a lot of people. So the whole purpose of reviewing this document is you are looking for people who actually going to review the document and are detail oriented enough to find that one line in a 4 to 5 page document and actually write back in that email, hey, unicorn, right? And so this is going to weed out a lot of people. It's going to save you a lot of headaches because you only want detail-oriented people working for you, right? And this is going to crush you sometimes because you're going to do an interview with someone for the skills. You're going to be like, wow, they're awesome. And then you're going to send them the details test. And maybe their personality is great, but they're going to fail the document test. And so very, very important. So at the end of that email, you just say, send me back a screenshot of your personality and confirm with me that you've reviewed the document. Then if they reply back and they show a screenshot of their personality type from 16 personalities, and that looks good, and then they also say the code word unicorn in the reply, then they can finally move to the fifth step, which is the alignment interview. Now, the alignment interview is all about them. And essentially what you're doing is you are understanding, what do you want out of this role? What is your vision? What do you want to get paid? What are your personal goals? So some of the questions that I would be asking are like, what's like an ideal work environment for you? Like, what does it really look like? Another question you could ask is like, what's like a type of work environment that you would never want to leave? Like, how can we create an environment for you, like an opportunity where you would be like over the moon happy working for this company? And essentially you're just writing down and taking notes of like everything that they want. So you're just like, yeah, man, like where could you see yourself in 5 years? Like, what does your life look like? What do you need to get paid? What does that look like? What kind of lifestyle do you want? All of those things. And you want to get very, very clear on exactly what their vision is. Now, this is going to reveal to you any red flags. So some possible red flags that you're looking for during the alignment interview is a shred of evidence of entrepreneurialism. So you do not want to hire people who are entrepreneurs. If they tell you like, yeah, in 5 years, I want to be running my own company or whatever, do not hire that person. Don't hire that person, okay? If they also tell you things like, yeah, I'm going to move, like in 2 years, I'm thinking of moving away, do not hire that person. If you're running a local business, then that means that like they're going to leave and you're going to lose that person, right? So you want to get a vision for 5 years down the line, and you want to create a space so that you can catch anything, right? So looking out for red flags, very, very important, right? The other thing that you want to be testing for too is what I call the barbecue test. So during the alignment interview, you want to be assessing, is this the type of person that I could just have a barbecue with and we could have a good time and have some drinks with? Like for me, that's really important, is being able to have some kind of rapport and like get along on a personal level with this person. Cause like if we don't jive, then it's not going to work out, right? So the barbecue test, very important. Can you have them over for a barbecue with your family, kids, whatever, and just have a good time? Because that is worth a lot. It's going to come in handy when it comes to being loyal. It's going to come in handy for when you go through tough times together, right? So very, very important. All right. Number 6 is if the alignment interview checks out and there's no red flags, looks really good, their requirements are reasonable, they're not asking for the world, they have a good vision, et cetera, you are going to present to them an offer. Now, essentially what this offer is a sales meeting, right? It's a sales presentation. And in the offer, you are going to make them an offer for a 90-day probation. So you are going to put together an offer and show them, here's everything that you are going to be doing in this role. And we are going to be working together for an initial 90 days. Now, this is a really powerful way for you to reduce the risk on yourself and basically get to trial them out for 90 days. And if things don't work out, then it makes it easier for you to step out of that engagement for both of you. So the 90-day offer should include stuff like, hey, here's what you're going to be doing. Here's what you're going to be getting paid. These are like all of the expectations, et cetera. And you should have something in there that like, once you pass the 90 days, this is kind of what the role looks like. So I personally recommend, you have 2 options for the 90-day offer, is you can hire them on part-time at full pay, or what you could do is you can hire them on full-time at reduced pay. So I would recommend either one of those because you're going to reduce your financial risk, and it's going to give them a 90-day kind of notice to basically prove themselves, right? If someone is like, oh no, I don't want that, I want to get paid like right off the bat, not a good fit, right? So you want someone who's willing to do the 90-day probation, is like, oh, no problem, I'll prove myself. And either willing to work part-time at full pay or reduced pay full-time, right? So you're going to give them that offer. And then you can tell them, hey, once you pass the 90 days, that's when the benefits kick in. That's when the full pay or the full hours kick in. that's when you get all this other stuff, vacation, etc., right? But no vacation, no benefits, and they should get some kind of like reduced pay or reduced hours for those first 90 days, right? So this is how you can trial them out. And like I said, this is how you can basically make it so that, you know, at the end of the 90 days, it's not really awkward. Like they'll know if they failed or not. And you can just say, yeah, like, you know, I don't think you're going to pass the probation, right? So let's say that you give them the offer, they accept it, right? And they're like, hey, this looks really good. I want to work for you. Then the last step is going to be onboarding. Very, very important. So many contractors and landscapers like ignore this. They don't have a real onboarding process. And this is what's going to make employees like lose a lot of respect for you, and you're not going to be able to hold on to them, right? So it's one thing to hire an A player, but you need to hold on to them as well. So I'm going to give you some really good tips for onboarding, right? You should so let's say they accept it, right? The first step is that you want to have an onboarding form for them to fill out. So this should have like their SIN number. It should have their banking details for payroll. It should have all of the necessary things that you need to know about them to set up paying them, to set up all these things. I recommend to put their birthday date in there and also ask a question about like their hobbies and stuff too. So then you kind of know like a little bit personally about them, and you can also connect with them a little bit more on that, right? So they fill out that onboarding form. I also recommend that you send them a gift on their first day of working with you, right? So their first day, they should receive some kind of gift. I recommend doing like an edible arrangement. It's like $50. You can send it to their home address, and it has like treats and stuff and just says, hey, welcome aboard, you know? I also recommend that you ship them some swag. So like hats, shirts, all that stuff. What this is going to do is make them feel like, hey, I'm working for this company now. It's going to actually make it feel like an event. You want to make it feel like an experience and like welcome aboard, you know, get all of the team members too to meet them on a call or in person if you have an office, and just be like, welcome, we're so excited to have you, right? So the welcoming, the gifts, all that, very important. And next is you want to get them to start shadowing whoever it is that they're going to be working with. So if it's sales, shadowing the other salespeople. If it's tech, you know, technician installing, they're shadowing the other installers and they're working with them, right? Finally, is you want to have scheduled check-ins with them. I recommend every 2 weeks, just take a quick check. It doesn't need to be weird, but just be like, hey man, how's it going so far? How is everything in the role? Do you feel like things are going well? And you just want to check in with them every 2 weeks. So then if things on your end aren't going well, like you're like, wow, they're screwing up or whatever, you can tell them every 2 weeks and say like, you're doing good, but there's like these little things that you need to fix, right? So then you're setting them up for success. So at the end of the 90 days, like you want them to succeed. So in those 2 weeks, you can be like, man, I want you to succeed, but you need to do this and this, okay? So for the next 2 weeks, work on those things. And then if things are improving, you're like, great. So that is the 7-step process, guys. And this is going to help you hire A players. You are going to weed out so many people who are a waste of your time, who are just looking for a job, a paycheck, and aren't willing to work hard. I hope you found that this video was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe. If you have any questions, comment below. And as always, if you're watching this video right now and you're like, wow, this was super helpful, I would love to hire Matt and his team to help me with my marketing to get more leads and sales so we can expand. And also we could help you on the hiring side of things. Book a call with my team. We'd be happy to speak with you. All right, guys, I'll see you on my next video.